Hello and welcome to this edition of the Time with Hime podcast. I am joined with our superintendent, Mr. Hime. How are you this week?
Doing really good. Looking forward to, it's kind of interesting. We're wrapping up January, headed to February. Time's moving. Had a great week this week, Martin Luther King celebration. Those people who put together that video celebration did an awesome job. I was glad to be a part of my little 5-minute segment, but they did a really good job. I watched that over the weekend, and it was very impressed with our faculty and staff and Dr. DeLoach and her team who put that together.
And congratulations to all our award recipients.
Yes, very congratulations. We'll be mentioning their names. Non-COVID, we'd have them at the board meeting tonight, announcing and reading essays, but we will announce them tonight and give them a little bit of public recognition at the board meeting. But yes, congratulations.
And don't forget, if you missed that program, you can go onto our YouTube channel and watch that. It's available for everybody to view, and they did a phenomenal job.
Yes.
Let's get into our COVID summary.
Hey, it's new, it's updated. We're seeing the spike in adults. It's a little bit alarming. I got to speak to quite a few of our schools on the professional development day last week. Very impressed with our faculty and how much they're dedicated to being in-person learning. I know we have some places and some faculty that's really worrisome, and I can understand that. The COVID is serious and it is affecting people differently, mentally and physically. So to all of us working through this is going to be that struggle we're going to have to work together to get done.
Now, when we're talking about the vaccines and they can, our viewers can go onto our website, but the vaccines for those that have taken them already, that's some of the questions that we've received for our special ed population. Is the health department, has Brandy said anything of whether they're going to notify them? And
I think they're going to have to go to the COVID, that portal or whatever they call it, that vaccinate.
And you were right, it's vaccinate.oklahoma.
.gov and go to that site and get signed up. I think, there's been a lot of debate as to where that second shot is. Is it held back? If you read the news, one health guy says this, another says this. Obviously, the rollout has not been exactly what anyone expected. At times, it's been tried to make political. I don't think it's political. Hopefully, nothing is political now, and it all gets to be what's best, and we start rolling forward with getting more vaccines, because I really think if the health department here gets those vaccines, they'll move quickly to start vaccinating our teachers, which will move us to another level of getting back to normalcy.
I hope so. And we will share any information we receive from the health department on our social media pages. So stay tuned to that. Now let's get into some great talks about what's going on with the school year and things that our families can expect as we look into the upcoming one.
Well, first of all, this year, we talk about basketball's moving well, wrestling's struggling a little bit. We've even had some basketball teams quarantined. I think I said this early in the year, but if there's ever been a year that just the ability to get to compete is what matters. Winning championships is something put on the back burner, although I did mess up last week speaking of teams that are having some success this year. I think I said Eisenhower basketball. I think from what I'm hearing, Eisenhower basketball is very young, and they're doing a great job, and they're coming right along. But it was MacArthur basketball boys who are ranked number one in some polls in the state. I think I looked at one, they're two, so they're right there in the top 2 or 3. I think there was an article in the paper that, they'll get to host a regional and some of those things. So, congratulations to them so far on their great season, and hopefully they stay through. But staying healthy and just the ability to compete, that's what high school sports are supposed to be about, is that ability to compete and what competition does for you. Although as a former coach, winning does have a little bit of a part of it. But, we're excited for what they're doing and the fact that, our fans have been really good about wearing masks in the stadiums and in the gyms and how we've worked through this as a community to have quite a bit of action take place.
And we had 2 academic teams that are moving on to state, in our district. So Lawton High School and MacArthur High School.
Yeah, and MacArthur, they won in sudden death. Is that correct?
I just know that I'm excited because they are killing it out there with,
It's always great to see the academic teams have success too, because, that's probably if you look at when I came to Lawton as a former coach, the athletic programs, as good as they are, the academic programs and the academic all-staters, the national merit scholars, the students scoring over 30 on their ACT, those are some of the things that we should be proudest of, and we have a great program in those, and we're really working hard. And moving towards, that's something that we're already starting to have meetings with. How do we a graduate today is different than a graduate was when I graduated a couple years ago.
I'm just going to smile.
But, how do we prepare students to be ready, that life ready for a career? We use career and college ready. We use different terms. We've kind of come up with a term we use as life ready. We want to create life ready graduates. How do we make our students life ready and an equal emphasis? So, one thing we started is, if we go all the way back to what we're looking at doing in elementary schools, we got a grant from the foundation for $50,000. I think we talked about that, and we're looking for some more money. And for maker spaces, which is kind of a STEM lab or an engineering lab for all of our elementary schools. So we're going to move forward with that. Our middle schools, one of the things we really want to work on at our middle school is increasing the curriculum and even offering numerous classes for high school credit. And somebody said, well, why do middle school kids need to take credit classes? Well, you have to have so many credits to graduate from high school. We don't want students to graduate early. If you're graduating early to go to college, it doesn't make sense because college is free when you're a senior. So why would you graduate and go pay for it? Just go free.
And junior. Our juniors
junior
can too.
year. Just go free. So, but if we take those classes as middle school students, when we get to high school, we have a lot more flexibility. We can take more electives, but high quality electives is what we're looking at. And one thing we're working together. When we start talking about life ready graduates, how do we partner with our like members? So, I have been meeting regularly with Dr. MacArthur and Clarence Fortney at Great Plains and Cameron, respectively. And we're talking about how do we become one to make our dollars go further for the students of Lawton Public Schools. And so these have been some really good conversations we've had. How do we improve that? And some of the things get to be, in this area of teacher shortage, we worry about teachers retiring and some of those things. How do we access all Lawton students with the high curriculum we have everywhere? We have some great programs at every high school as far as academically. There's nothing that says we got to figure out a way to make it where your daughter, if she goes to MacArthur High School, can have those same things that they have at Ike and Lawton and vice versa, because they all have great programs, and it's got to expand when you start talking about this life ready and these AP classes shared. Everybody starts thinking, well, you're working about the top 10% or the best of the best. No. I met with the high school principals. They're going to find things on their campuses that they can excel in and they can improve, that we can develop resources for so we can streamline all students. What does an ag program look like if we unite it and we share ag teachers, because you have some better at speech, you have some better at showing animals, you have some at different types of animals that they become expertise. What does ROTC look like if we have one upper, so advanced ROTC program for seniors that's been in it for 3 or 4 years and all of them work together? What could it look like? What would art look like if we had a site where we had our advanced art students and they had a gallery?
Yes.
What about FACS and some of those classes that have gotten limited because we don't have that many students who want to take them? What if we had a central location where we could share resources? I was talking to Dr. McCarthy, and I think they just built somewhere, not in MacArthur.
Yeah, Dr. MacArthur.
Yeah, Dr. MacArthur. When we were talking, somewhere around $1 million, they built a couple of high-tech biology chem labs. Well, that would be hard for us as a district to build 3 of those, but what if we had a site we could build 1 of them in? And again, it's just all brainstorming. How do we make that work where it's similar to the, we'd never want to take a student's ability to their home campus. We always want them to play football and basketball and band and cheerleader, academic team with their home school and be part of their home school, marching the band on Friday night for MacArthur or Eisenhower or Lawton, whoever your team is. But how do we make sure, we had this discussion, even AP, how many AP foreign language classes do we offer? Well, if we have one teacher that's capable, do we find a way for her to teach at all 3 schools, or do we find a way to bring the kids to him from all 3 schools? And those are some things we're really looking at and discussing, that how do we take the resources we have and better use them for all Lawton students moving forward? And there have been some really good questions. The high school principals and I have met superstars in our principals. They see this as how we make it work. I've met with, again, Dr. MacArthur and Mr. Fortney at Great Plains, and again, it's a time thing. You can't, you've heard me say it. It's great what we can do, but it's still eating that elephant. You got to do it one bite at a time, but you can't just say, well, let's wait, because you look up and it's 2028 and you're still saying, let's wait.
That's right.
So it's just that balance of how do we make that work? I told somebody, I got half of my master's on Talkback TV back in 2000. If I could get my master's 15 years ago on Talkback TV, how are we not allowing our AP kids to get better? So everything's on the table. How do we make it better for students? It's kind of that saying I have, we'll do whatever we can to do the best thing we can for a student as long as it doesn't adversely affect another student. So there's a lot of time and effort going to go into that, and we're going to continue those discussions. And the open-mindedness people have, I've really liked. But building that partnership with Cameron and Great Plains between the three of us, it creates all for one for all. But if all three of us are working together, including our three high schools working together, we have a lot of potential and a lot of things we can offer when we start talking about life-ready graduates. And it doesn't just include high-thinking engineer students or just, career. There's just a lot of things we could do. So we're excited.
Well, and I know, talking with my daughter, I ask her every day, what are you looking forward to? And she, they have their ideas of what they want to become. And I think that's great that we're looking into enhancing our educational environment for our students, because before they leave, our campus as a senior, it'd be great for them to have tried several careers.
Sure.
And determine truly where their path is and setting up those career pathways.
Yeah, and one of the things, even in that kind of spurned some of this talk was, we don't know where it's going to end up, but this Vista that's come here where the city's bought the Knott Mall, they've turned it over to this group, and we're going to bring all these high-tech businesses in that are looking for engineers and different people. So now how do you make that work, that we can work with them to know that all of our high schools and all of our community, we're working to create a workforce for them, and we allow them some input? Think about the drone world, Well, we really don't have a program teaching students how to fly drones, but what if we had something? So esports, man, esports are out the...
And it's already starting to take off.
Yeah, we've had
in
a
our
little
high
bit, but
schools.
what if we could have a space where, or somewhere we had a central esports arena? I mean, we have a central place where we all get to go play football that's a really nice stadium. What if we had one really super esports arena that all of our students from all three high schools could play at? So it's a
And we
challenge.
have staff members. That's what's exciting, is that we have staff members that are specialized in that area, trained in that area, and we can utilize them for other avenues like that.
Yeah, and we know one of the things that happened to us, and hopefully it gets corrected, but we had a 10-year period where we had a shortage of teachers. Teacher pay got so low, people laughed because, President Biden, we don't say President-elect anymore, he's actually President Biden. President Biden has proposed a $15 minimum wage for all. Well, it wasn't that long ago that teachers weren't making, if you just count their hours on the clock, they weren't not counting their hours outside of the student time, they weren't making $15 an hour. So we had a shortage of those getting into the field, so we had a void. So when you look, that resource, the most valuable resource a school has is their teachers. Without great teachers, we can't be a great school. And as we hit this era where teachers are retiring, our struggle is to make sure we can have teachers that excel in certain areas. Whether it be AP English, AP Chemistry, AP Biology, AP Math, AP Physics, and finding three in each one of those in this teacher shortage area can be difficult. If we can find a way to share the skill set of those teachers with all three high schools, we can have our students at all three high schools, get that benefit. I hear of all these great and I don't know them all by name, but I know we got a superstar AP teacher at Lawton Eisenhower. Well, wouldn't it be great if the MAC students somehow, some way could have access to that skill set? I mean, they say Doc Freeman's the best AP teacher in the world, but he only gets Lawton students. And maybe it doesn't work with those two, but maybe there's others it does. So just finding flexibility has more than just to do with how we deal with COVID and our learning platforms. It's got to deal with everything we do. And again, as a parent, which you are, I'm a parent, mine are grown, and I can see what I wanted for my students. I like talking to you because I can see the excitement in your face that we're at least looking at possibilities to expand what she can see and what your children can have moving forward and what we can offer. So that's the ultimate goal is not to step on anyone's toes and not to cause dysfunction, but be open-minded, out of the box, and start listening to what the parents and the teachers and different people have to say, where what do we want Lawton Public Schools to look like in 2030?
Right. And our students, because they're the ones
Yes.
that are in it right
Yes.
now and where they want to go with their careers, no matter their career pathway that they're headed.
You know, and it's about those that are challenged. You know, some students need college. Some students need a year or two after high school to just kind of feel their way. Some students know what they want to do right now. Are we offering them what they need to do right now? And so that's we're excited about it, and we'll see where it goes, and we're going to move forward. And again, we're going to take one step at a time, or eat the elephant one bite at a time, and we'll see, you know, where we get. You know, can we have something ready for 21, 22, or next August? That'll be a challenge.
Cross our fingers
That's
and
going to
keep
be
working.
that's going to be a challenge, but we're going to work to do it. And it just, you know, space gets to be an issue. How do you find space? But as a district, as we continue to shrink a little bit in students, we've got to find better resources for the students we have to get the you know. So parents want to move to Lawton. They want their students to attend Lawton schools. So that's a goal, you know. And talk about Jet Force. You're in a little bit. I'm doing all the talking.
No, the Jet Task Force, I know we have taken our community and just kind of partnered with them to see what we can do as a district to enhance our educational setting for our students. And so it's been interesting to get some feedback. And you know we love feedback, and you've got that. What's our email?
info@lawtonps.org.
That's
info@lawtonps.org. And it is, you know, so when you start talking about getting feedback, sometimes you got to be open-minded, because if you survey enough people, you're going to get some answers you don't like.
Right.
And that's okay if we're doing it to get better. And that's some of the things we're going to look at, because, you know, we always say you don't have to be bad to get better. And we have some people in our community. First of all, we don't sell ourselves very well. There's a lot of people who know about some of the negative things of Lawton Public Schools, but when you go on the street and ask people, how many students at Lawton Public School scored above a 30 on their ACT last year? How many people you think would answer that question?
I don't think very many would tell you how many.
But if we had a negative event, people could tell you how many. So that's the thing we have to work on, is how we're selling our school. How do we? And again, one of the things we're going to do with that is a strategic plan. We're going to meet with a group out of the K-20 Center that works with the University of Oklahoma,
Yes.
a research center that they specialize in doing school strategic plans. And that's a community issue. They will get with the community, and they will ask you as teachers, you as parents, you as staff members. They'll ask all of us, again, what do we want the school to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? What are the things we're doing good? What are the things we can do better at? And the purpose of that is to get better. And you know, when you take the job as superintendent, you become the CEO, the president, whatever you want to call yourself. You are the number one guy. You are the figurehead for that. But it doesn't become mine. It still belongs to our community. Lawton Public Schools belongs to our community, but it also belongs to our students. And so it's something we also got to understand in what we're saying. How does it belong to all of our community and all of our students? Because sometimes we get segregated in ourselves, and we got our MacArthur group and our Eisenhower group and our Lawton High group, and they don't see what we do for all three. And again, rightfully so, they want to work with their students, but we got to, you know, my job is to try to find a way to enhance the opportunities for every student in this district, not just the students at your school. And that's a difficult, because if I was teaching or the principal at a school, I'm going to be more worried about what's going on at my school than the other schools, because that's what I get paid to do. So work with me. It's going to be a challenge for all of us, but do understand the goal is to bring as many people to the table as we can and find out what we can do to best enhance the learning opportunities for your seventh grader. So when they graduate, they had more opportunities than any student who's ever gone through Lawton Public Schools, and then the sixth graders more, and every year add opportunities.
It's exciting. It's an exciting time for us, and we hope you stay tuned for what's to come. Mr. Hime, what else would you like to share with our families out there this week?
Oh, we're just be
One more week in January.
One more week in January. You know, our families and our students, you know, we got more and more people taking the vaccine. We're keeping our head above water. We know we're going to, you know, there's still some more bumps and bruises going to come as we work through this pandemic. We've never been through one. And again, I know there's people out there sometimes that say, well, they're in school, they're not in school, they're in school. We're still in communication with our health department. We look at what the CD says. If they ever come out and say, hey, you guys need to go virtual, that's the safest thing for your students, that's what we're going to do. We're not guessing. We're not throwing darts at a dartboard. We are gathering information from experts and trying to follow the health guidelines as they give it, and again, our thoughts and prayers with our families. We know more and more people are suffering losses, hospitalizations, struggles, people losing their jobs. This is uncharted territories for all of us. There's times I think about how much stress I have. Then I think about when I'm not the teacher that's in front of 30 kids every day. How much stress do they have? I haven't lost my job. I'm still getting a paycheck. I still have my health. And so I'm thankful for what I have. So, I want to make sure everybody understands, we're all in this together. And I understand there's a lot of you out there who have it tougher than I do. So let's continue to work together and do what's best for our students and try to get to the end of this pandemic. And hopefully we're closer to normalcy and starting school in a normal way and starting to improve what we offer our students, improve how our buildings look and so forth.
If you have any questions, concerns, or want to share celebrations that you've seen in our district, please reach out to us on our social media or info@lawtonps.org. Mr. Hime, thank you for your time this week. I appreciate it. As always, it's a pleasure. You guys, thank you. We wish you to stay well, be kind, and make positive impacts. Until next week, we will see you later. Have a good one.
Thank you.